JoJo's Part 2 is great, and it had a great main villain, Kars. This is why Kars is the perfect villain. The Pillarmen all had their own unique personality and their differences. Wamuu was the noble warrior who stood on his beliefs and tried to have fair fights. ECDC was kind of like Wamuu, but at the same time wasn't as serious about being a noble warrior and followed Kars as his main focus. And then finally Kars. He was the leader of the Pillarmen and his main focus was getting the Red Stone. Kars is a very confident and egotistical character. He clearly thinks very highly of himself and believes in himself. He's lived for thousands of years and has lots of experience. We see he is loyal to the other Pillarmen like ECDC and Wamuu, but he's willing to play dirty, whereas one of the other Pillarmen wouldn't do that because they find it unhonorable. Kars is clearly the most evil of the Pillarmen, but also, I would say, he makes the best leader because of his confidence and because of his belief in himself. So this makes him the best main villain out of all the Pillarmen, him being the leader and the most evil. Kars clearly looks down to humans and doesn't really care for them. The first time he encountered Joseph and Caesar, he kept telling Wamuu just to move on, was just walking away, ignoring them, and not really caring about them, as if they don't matter to him. He had no interest. But it shows that Kars, he has a good mindset. It shows that he's focused on his goal. It shows that he's confident. It shows that he's definitely believing in himself, and he's the type of person to succeed. So he's a villain with a strong personality, a goal, but who is also pretty selfish and evil. When Wamuu wanted to fight Joseph since they had made the deal earlier, Kars told him that they must only focus on the Red Stone and not to bother fighting Joseph, even though Wamuu requested to, showing that he's more focused on his own goal rather than helping out his friend that he's been friends with for thousands of years. And Wamuu, of course, is loyal to Kars, so he takes his orders and follows what he says. I'm not saying that Kars didn't care about ECDC or Wamuu at all, but I do think he was pretty selfish, especially in comparison to the other Pillarmen, because the other Pillarmen clearly cared a lot about Kars. They were loyal to him, they did what he said, and they did not want to make him upset. I actually like that fact that we have 3 different Pillarmen, so we can compare them all with each other. It shows how Kars stands out from the others as being more evil, more selfish, and his lack of morals. When Wamuu died, Kars said that he was too soft. And we saw a flashback where Wamuu didn't want to take the life of someone and Kars wanted him to, so Kars ended up doing it himself. Showing how Kars only really cares about himself and, once again, doesn't really care for others or how they feel, or just can't empathize as much with others. I think especially Kars and Wamuu's differences actually in a way went against each other, because Kars was willing to do things that were unhonorable, trick people, and play dirty, while Wamuu, he played fair. But since a lot of the time Kars was playing dirty while Wamuu was playing fair, they weren't successful enough either way to succeed. As a team, they could have both played dirty, or as a team, they could have both been honorable and been more successful, I believe. Once Kars did finally become Ultimate Kars at the end, he was incredibly powerful. Now, undoubtedly, the most powerful Pillarman. Before this, I would say he was definitely one of the strongest. I would say maybe tied with Wamuu, or it's possible that Wamuu was a little bit more powerful than Kars. But once Kars became Ultimate Kars, undoubtedly he was the most powerful Pillarman. He had grown wings, he was faster, more durable, just stronger than ever, with 400 IQ. That is insane. He's became the ultimate life form and he seemed unstoppable. Remember, the other 2 Pillarmen are gone. It's only him left now. But actually, this is completely fine for Kars, because his main goal was the Red Stone and to become the ultimate life form. If it was one of the other Pillarmen, either ECDC or Wamuu, left by themselves, I'm sure they would have cared a lot more that their friends died. While Kars being more selfish, got over it and was still focused on his goal. And now with Ultimate Cars, he's happy. Ultimate Cars is the strongest character in all of JoJo's, pretty much unbeatable. And I think it shows a lot about Cars, because even in the flashbacks we see before Cars became a Pillarman, he had a mindset of he wanted to improve, he wanted to become powerful, a god, and he just seemed like a very ambitious and determined individual who was very motivated. And now to see him where he is now, it's definitely pretty inspiring and brings a lot of personality to his character, as well as makes him likable, even though he's very unlikable in some ways. Yes, he still did lose to Joseph, but that's what makes Joseph seem even cooler. The only way Cars could have been beat forever was being launched into outer space and then being stuck as a rock forever. That was really a good ending for Cars. Just because of how powerful he was, it seems there would have been no better way to put a stop to him. This just feels right. But of course, I would have liked to see more of Cars, and I would like to see Cars come back because I like the character. Another thing I noticed about Cars' character is that I think the English dub voice actor is very good. His voice fits perfectly. It just sounds right to me and fits who Cars is and his personality. And Cars is a very intelligent, but at the same time evil character. And a lot of the time when Cars laughed, he sounded a little bit crazy, and he definitely sounded evil, but it also fit him because at the same time he was laughing, he didn't sound worried, he sounded confident, and he sounded intelligent. I notice a lot of the time voice actors, when they laugh as characters, let's say it's an intelligent character, while they're laughing, they don't sound smart, they just sound like a psychopath. But when Cars laughs, he still has control, he's not losing it, and he still sounds very sharp and intelligent. I'm not saying that Cars isn't flawed in any ways and he couldn't be better in any ways, but for the part and for what we got of Cars and how it was executed, I think it was very good, and he was the perfect villain for the part. Just a very strong villain for the part and well written. I even like his character design. He's extremely muscular. He has long purple hair. Also is very tall. I think he has everything a good villain needs. You could argue he's not that unique of a villain, and I would kind of agree, but I do also feel he's kind of unique in a way because of the way he looks. He's got a very unique appearance, at least. I guess that helps him out with standing out in that way. But, you know, his main focus and goals and personality is much more common villain traits. So maybe if there was a few more unique things about him, his character would be better. But overall, he's a great villain. I don't really have any complaints. I think he made a perfect villain for Joseph. He made it seem like he was so powerful, there was no way Joseph could win, and it just made the part so interesting. Guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Is Cars your favorite villain? Or do you think he's at least a great villain? What are some things about Cars that you like? And I'll see you in the next video.